I was just setting the bow up to try the new fuse stabilisers on, and surprisingly the V-bar mount doesn't fit. It contacts on the riser on the left hand side, so you can't use the standard fuse V-bar. You're going to either have to have an additional extender or a different type of V-bar with a flat back on it. I'm surprised I haven't told us this in any of the advertising for it, but it doesn't fit the carbon matrix bow. So following on from the V-bar, I've put a V-bar on with a flat rear half on it, thinking that would solve the problem, but it doesn't. Still, when you go to put the actual rod in, it contacts the riser on the side. So you're going to have an extender no matter what V-bar system you use. So I'm going to get an extender for that and put it back together. There it is, all set up, ready to go out and test. Carbon blade stabilisers on, got a booster sight on there and a spring steel deep cut launcher. Let's have a few shots then, and try and describe what it's like. Got the fuse stabiliser system on it. I've had to put a 3-inch extender on. Could have got away with a shorter extender, but I didn't have any to hand, so a 2-inch extender would have been plenty to get clearance on the side rod. Really low vibration bow. I find it difficult to describe the sounds of bows sometimes. When I was describing the Alpha Elite, I described it as a fairly sharp type feel, a tight sharp feel. This sounds a bit different. It's much more of a deeper sound to it. Certainly no vibration at all. I was sort of expecting it to be a bit livelier than it is, because it's a lightweight bow. I was expecting it to be a bit more, well, I don't know what I was expecting because I hadn't shot it before, but usually when you would assume a light mass weight bow might jump around a little bit when you shoot it, but this, it doesn't at all. The horizontal limbs really keep it with hardly any recoil or jump after the shot when you shoot it. So it doesn't feel lively at all. It does feel very dead when you shoot it, and I wasn't really expecting that. I thought a lightweight bow might jump around a bit more. Feels really good. Cams are solid. I think I've overdone it a little bit with the side stabiliser, because the fused carbon blade stabilisers have got fairly heavy steel weights on the end, and I put an 8-inch side rod on with the full weights on the end, and I think I can feel it just rolling to the left a little bit after I shot it, and I feel the aiming of it. It feels as if it wants to pull slightly to the left. So probably less weight on the side rod, or rather than having it flat out like I've got it here, if it's angled down and more into the bow, it wouldn't have such an effect of dragging it to the left. It needs a little bit of something on the side, on the left hand side, but not much, not as much as I've got on now. Feels nice, lovely, stable, controlled. I've just made a change to the setup of the bow. I've turned the side rod right inside and lower on the bow. So I'd overdone it on the stabilisers on the left. See if this feels different. feel as if the bow is definitely travelling in a straight square line to the target when we shoot it, staying upright and stable on it. So you don't need much on the left hand side, you just need something. So you could either have the side rod sticking out flat as I had it with a lot less weight on the end, or a shorter version of this rod, or turn it on the inside so it's not so obvious. One thing about these carbon blade stabilisers is they do suit the bow really well, but they're not the lightest setup you can have. So if you're choosing this bow based on its mass weight, then these carbon blades with the extender, with the steel weights on the end, they're not heavy compared to what a normal setup would be, but if you're wanting to buy this bow and keep it the overall mass weight as light as possible, you're probably going to need some lighter stabilisers or drop some of this weight off the end. Well, I've took the stabilisers off now just as an experiment, so just shooting the bare bow, because I want to feel what it's like with no stabilisers due to the light mass weight, and see if it is a bit jumpy or bounces around at all. It's really impressive that even without stabilisers on or sights on, it feels still stable after the shot. It really opens up opportunities on stabilisation on this bow. You'll be able to do so much with it, not having to compensate for anything right from the get-go on it. For a bow to perform and feel like this with no stabilisers on really is an example of good design. Sure, it kicks back a little bit when I shoot it. It does need obviously something on there, but for a bare bow like this, that's really good fun actually. Well, I've shot quite a few arrows out of the bow and have to admit it's better than I expected it to be. I was expecting a light mass weight bow to be a bit livelier than it was, and it's not at all. I think maybe the parallel limb style on it keeps that in control. But what's really nice with a light mass weight bow is it opens up so many options with these stabilisers. You can fit fairly heavy stabilisers on it and have it feel like a normal mass weight bow, or you can get some lightweight stabilisers on and really have one of the lightest bows on the market. There are a few other bows of a similar mass weight, but they're always very small, very short hunting bows, so for a mid-sized bow this has got to be the lightest on the market. The riser itself is the main attraction on this. It's a very advanced style of bow and unique, and for that reason alone it's worth consideration. It's always nice to see some new and interesting technology in the industry, and this certainly is that. If I have to give a downside to it, it's again with this style of bow, it's not really a specialist in any particular field. When you see it advertised on the Hoyt website, it's right up there with the hunting bows featured in camouflage. It's as if it's been designed to appeal to a lot of different archers. It's a good crossover bow. It'll be suitable for some target archers, 3D archers and hunting. But the downside is that they've got some dedicated target bows with some features that do really have the advantage for long distance precision shooting. And what really would be a special bow, if they could create a carbon-rised Vantage Elite, that would really be something special, and I'd really look forward to seeing something like that. But for the type of bow, mid-length parallel limb bow, fantastic.